Alrighty, starting with mid-tier. So, you know, I would obviously, like, a lot of people always comment on my tier lists being like, actually, ESAM, you're just like, it has to be a regular distribution where there has to be as many low-tier characters as top-tier characters. And then I say, have you looked at Smash Ultimate? Like, have you watched the game? Because clearly, every single person says that every low-tier character is bad. I'm sure if you go back to the comments on the first video, which, by the way, if you missed it, it'll be in the card right up here. If you missed it, like, every single time I make a tier list, every single person's like, actually, Ganon's not the worst character in the game. Actually, Belmont's are high tier. Actually, so, like, someone has to be down there. But also then some people say, like, there have to be 20 bad characters when there are simply not 20 bad characters. So we're in the mid-tier, and these characters are still pretty good, with good reps and good results. And we're starting with two characters that are tied, which I don't know who is better, and I hemmed and I hawed about this for, like, 5 minutes before I did this video. So it's going to be the two Animal Crossing characters, Isabelle and Villager. I don't know who's better. I don't know who's better. I simply don't. I have no clue which one of these is better. They have different tools because Villager, of course, is a little bit more of a consistent keep away character because you have his side B. And then, of course, you have, like, you know, a good out of shield up smash to, like, hit people for trying to go above you. He has RNG turnips, which are sometimes better than Isabelle, sometimes worse. Isabelle's a little bit more consistent, but has better ground moves because her up tilt is significantly better. Her up tilt is honestly one of the best up tilts in the game. I think I underrated it in my up tilt tier list. Of course, I know everyone knows she has one of the best jabs in the game, so it can confirm into a bunch of things. Like, you get jab up tilt into up air, which is crazy, or jab down smash at high percents, jab up smash, I think if you're close enough works as well. So, like, she's more consistent and has some decent kill potential, but, like, Villager has tree and bowling ball and down smash. So, like, it's hard because I feel like both characters are good, but I don't know who's better anymore. It's hard. I legitimately don't know because I've always said that Villager's better, but, like, Fishing Rod off stage is really good, and it can kind of do the same thing that Bowling Ball does, just less percent. Like, you know, rather, it only works at higher percent, but, like, her down B's, like, her Lloyd Rocket is more annoying than Villager's because it's something you have to deal with or you just, like, have to hope you don't run into, whereas Villager's is more consistent in his game plan, but it's not as scary because if you get hit by Villager side B, assuming it's not the exploding one, you don't really care, whereas this leads to up air or side B and can kill you at 85. So I don't know. Tree is broken for sure. Does ESAM stand for Electronic Sam or Eric Sam? ESAM stands for Eric Samus. I'm definitely not putting Pichu as the best character in the game. We all know who's the best character in the game. People get mad at me for this one, but it's definitely not a good character. Chrom is down here in my opinion. I think Chrom, it's one of those characters that's so funny because, like, I feel like the transition between, like, you know, Ganon and low tier, which again, you can realistically put Ganon and low tier, it's the same thing. The gap between, like, these characters and, like, the next tier to me is huge because Chrom is the character that's like, damn, he has a lot of good stuff, right? Chrom has a ton of good tools, like amazing tools. His neutral is very strong. His moves are strong. He has kill confirms. He's able to kill you, has good out of shield options with up B. The character is, like, pretty good. And then he just has, like, the bottom 4 disadvantage in the game. So it doesn't matter because he's a character that is, like, he's really good until you just lose the game. And that's why there are no Chrom players anymore. It's because you simply sometimes lose. And by no Chrom players, I mean also Lancelot exists. And also there's the one from Japan. I think his name is Lax, which I haven't watched him before. But having a bad recovery means that your disadvantage everywhere is worse because you can't double jump in disadvantage and hope to just get away with it. Because if you get hit out of your double jump, you actually just die. So he's a character that just accidentally loses, and the only characters that accidentally lose are also down here, such as Mech and Ganon and, like, the characters with bad recoveries, essentially. So, like, that influences the entire way he plays because you can't double jump in neutral as Chrom, because just in case you get hit out of your double jump, you're gonna die at 7. You can't do it. So yeah, in my opinion, Chrom is down here. Speaking of dying at 7, Lucario. So Lucario isn't a character until he's really, really good. And the thing is, there are so many characters that can just kill you off of, like, one advantage state or one hit in this meta that I don't feel like Lucario can justifiably be higher than this. But in the matchups where you're not dying at 80, this character is broken. I mean, Aura is one of the scariest things in the game. His Aura Sphere is great. His ledge trapping is very good. I mean, Armadillo is a very, very talented player. Gachapi is also very good in Japan, so they both have good results. But, like, this character is really scary sometimes. Like, again, I personally very scared of this character as Pika, because that matchup is, like, even or losing for Pika, because Pika can't kill early enough. But there's enough characters that get like really potent edge guards or just are so strong or have really good kill confirms that the character doesn't get to shine in enough matchups. But when he does, it's scary. I mean, -0 Nair with no aura is honestly insane. And has some very good matchups in top tier, as I mentioned. Pika, probably Sheik, probably, you know, the random characters that struggle to kill. And then he just kills you at 50. But like, he's inconsistent, and I can't put super inconsistent characters down, or sorry, higher, because like, there's nothing, it's not like he's inconsistent, but like you can just get the reads. It's like, oh, it's inconsistent because of like a mechanic, right? So yeah, I don't like it. There's a player in the Midwest that is not originally from the Midwest that is very good with this character. There's also a couple other ones. Kirby. Kirby definitely has his flaws. Obviously, he's not very fast, can get camped out pretty easily, but this character has some of the best overall moveset in the game. His aerials are all very good, and by all of them, I mean all of them, but no, they're all pretty good. Forward air is crazy. Down air is underrated by Kirby mains. And then he has like the best set of tilts in the game, probably. Like I think overall, like if you have to combine forward tilt, up tilt, and down tilt, he has the best set in the game, because like most characters have 2 really good tilts, and Kirby has all 3 that are like absolutely insane. But the problem is you just run away from him. He has good combos, the damage output's really good, the kill potential's pretty strong. He doesn't have any kill confirms other than specifically like Dare Ride, which I still don't see a lot of Kirby's get, and then like fair 1-2 into down smash, or fair 1 into like F tilt or something like that. So he mostly is getting raw kills with dash attack and back air, and like up throw, which are still good. People like he's missing that like, oh, I just killed you at 85 or 90, besides like trip down tilt into forward smash, and that's basically it. He's high tier on paper. No, he's not, because you just run away from him. He's actually worse in paper. Like in theory, he's like down here, because you simply run away from him the whole time. Has a lot of good stuff, just not a complete enough package. Like a couple of things missing to make this character like crazy. Next up is a character that I feel like is still underrated overall, but then I look and I'm like, I don't know if I can put this character higher, which is Pichu. Pichu, offensively, is terrifying. He's a scary rushdown character that does a ton of damage and has really good combos, and there are a couple of Pichus that are doing really well there's one in Japan that's doing really well, which I forget their tag at the moment, but there's like a couple of really super heavy combo Pichus that do well. Of course, you have Nador Yu in Europe, so this is probably the first character with like, oh, this has like a lot of rep. But like he loses to camping, and he loses to him damaging himself because he can't camp. Yone P, yes, exactly. That was, yeah. So like this character beat Mia, and he's mid tier because welcome to Smash Ultimate, right? He's really scary until he's not. He has a lot of really bad matchups. Some of which are prevalent in meta, some of which are not, but he's too light to be consistent. If he was even like Pika weight, he would be so much better, because he would just be living that little bit longer, which would be a huge deal. But unfortunately, he hurts himself, is squishy, and even though he has really good offense, like he can do 0 to 90, and then you deal him 0 to like 45, and that's the same amount of damage because he's that light. DK. Donkey Kong is here. He's not, like, again, DK has a lot of good stuff if you really, really optimize him. But again, one of the things that happens with low tier characters, I feel like a lot of low tier characters will optimize their character before other people optimize their characters, because the character simply has less. You have Ding Dong, you have down tilt tripping, you have pretty good aerials with back air and up air. Of course, you have Darikusu beat Spargo, you have Chunky Kong top 8 Momocon and beat Light and beat so many. Chunky Kong's amazing. Like, the character has a good amount of reps. It had Hikaru before he just started to try hard Street Fighter 6, but he's still Donkey Kong, where he gets edge guarded and he gets juggled forever. And yeah, he has tools to sometimes get around that, but overall, they're just getting juggled by most characters and most players. And it's just like, if you mess up, you might die. But then you also can say the same thing about the top tier characters that also hit you and kill you. So DK hits you and kills you, but has the flaw, whereas a lot of the characters in the higher tiers have the same or similar strength and don't have the flaws as much. So yeah, that's the only reason why DK's down here. It's basically just worse than other characters. It's not like he's bad, if that makes sense. Remember when that one dude paid me $200 to put Doc in high tier? I'm down. We have the first of the 3 Miis here, where I've brought him a little bit down from where I put him before, which is Mii Sword Fighter. I do think Mii Sword Fighter is still underrated, because a lot of people would put Mii Sword Fighter like down here, and he's not that bad. Mii Sword Fighter is pretty good. He has some good tilts, he has some good combination of special moves, but I feel like it's really hard to be consistent with this character just because sometimes you can't kill. You either, like, depending on the moveset, you either don't get the kills that you need early enough, If you use like one of the safer upbees like SSD, I forget what that stands for, or the double hit uppie, you're not killing super early. But then if you run the hero spin, you're gonna get those early kills, but you're also gonna die early because your recovery sucks. So you basically are choosing either inconsistency or consistency, but not early killing, except for like a couple of moves like getting down throw up air, someone messes up their DI, which again is feasible because his down throw is so fast, or something like a back air or some like hard read. But he has a lot of good like raw moves, and he has good game plans overall. It's obnoxious to deal with for a lot of characters. But again, it's mostly like, he's good. There's just characters that are better than him. Speaking of characters better than him, we got it. He's not the worst or the second worst sword character in the game anymore, even though I still think he is overrated by a lot of the people, which is Marth. Marth still is not great and not consistent because you accidentally don't get your tippers over and over and over again, and then your opponent lives to 180 and kills you at 50 because Marth doesn't have a great disadvantage state. But he's fine. He's a sword character. He walls you out. He plays solid neutral the whole time, and then accidentally sometimes kills you at 50 is how more so I think about it. Again, Marth haters, if you want to go into the comments and yell at me, that's fine. Just drop a subscribe while you're down there, because I get it. Like, I understand why you have the issue, because you're like, but like, oh, on average, that chart says that the Marth means kill less early. Or sorry, earlier than Lucina players, but Lucina players know when their stuff is gonna kill, so mentally, it's so much better regardless. It doesn't matter. Like, if you have to worry that you're not gonna get that kill because the person was 3 pixels too close to you, I don't think you're worrying about so much that other characters simply don't have to. So yeah, that's my Marth section. The biggest fall from grace in the meta, or I guess the second, because one of the other characters is already up here, the second biggest fall from grace, Incin. I think Incin is mid-tier. Sharks, I'm gonna tell you why. Because Incin is a character that can't kill you in a game where people touch of death you, not even by like just true combo, although that's also true, but like people can just advantage state you for a whole stock. So not getting a kill as Incin is a huge deal, and Incin's advantage state isn't strong enough to make up for it. She doesn't have good enough edge guarding. She doesn't have good enough like edge trapping to make up for the lack of killing. Of course, in the matchups where up throw up air works and it's like a pretty lenient window, she's good, right? Those are the good matchups for Incin. Like Snake is the only like really meta relevant one I can think of. There are good Incin players. You have Shida Yuki. You have Space, who I think mostly is an Aegis player now, but still plays Incin. You have Colorado. There are very good Incin players, but like they just can't consistently do well because Incin can't consistently do well because you're just gonna get hit at 50 and die sometimes, whether you get hit at 50 and actually die to like nil combos, or you know, down air up smash by Pyra and Mithra or something like that, or you just get hit at 50, get put off stage, and then take 80% ledge trapping, and then you die because you rolled and then they up smashed you. That happens to Incin a lot because she can't get those kills, which is why Incin is down here. That's literally the only reason. Incin otherwise has pretty good tools, right? The advantage is a little rough. If her forward air or back air was a little stronger, she'd be insane. But they're not. So like the advantage is mid over, like especially compared to the good characters. But her neutral's good, and her like recovery's pretty good. Like has some good tools. It's just like not being able to kill is such a big deal. It's like the biggest deal in the game, other than like also dying randomly. Like that's it. Like you had like bad recoveries, but like really exploitable recoveries and not being able to kill are the two biggest flaws in Ultimate. I'd rather have slow movement speed, but like have a fine recovery and have a fine you know, time killing. Like that's literally what Steve is. Steve has bad mobility. I mean, of course, for a bunch of different reasons, but like Steve has bad mobility, but can kill you and has good neutral, and then just like just randomly kills you and doesn't ever die off stage. So that's like one of the main reasons. What tier would Ganon be if he had an extra stock? Honestly, not good. He'd maybe be like here. If Ganon had 4 stocks to everyone's 3, he's still down here. We go to the second DLC characters. Most people don't consider Planet DLC characters. Sephiroth is down here. I think this character sucks. I think he has some good stuff, and obviously Wing is really good, but I think his frame data, he has like the worst frame data in the game overall, which is really bad. Like having the worst of anything in this game is really bad, especially when there are characters that are top tiers that just run up and frame data you. There are so many characters that can do that. And yes, he has a lot of range. Yes, side B's annoying. Yes, blah, 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 blah. But like, you have to think about it. Every Sephiroth player complains about Sephiroth. Literally, every single Sephiroth player is like, dude, my character sucks. All of them. Ned, Tweak, Ken, they're all like, yeah, Sephiroth sucks. And like, maybe not to the degree that I put him, but if every single main legitimately doesn't believe in the character, or like everyone that plays the character seriously legitimately doesn't believe in the character, because like people go like, oh man, like Palutena is so bad, but like they understand that they mean that in a very specific context when it's talking about like cheese or clutching out games or randomly having like a X factor. I get that, but people will be like, yeah, Sephiroth actually sucks. The only thing about Sephiroth that's good is Wing, and that's literally it. And Wing is really good. Wing Sephiroth is up, no, not there, is up here, for sure. But it doesn't always have Wing, and there are times that you're gonna die too early. There's times you're gonna get edge guarded. There's times that you're just gonna get out frame dated for an entire game, and how many back airs can you realistically hit someone with before they stop getting hit by the back air? And I'm glad he's bad, because literally, Sephiroth is the lamest DLC character. And yes, I'm not forgetting about them. I know that Min Min and Steve are DLC characters, and Sephiroth is the lamest one, by far. It's not close. But yeah, I think the character's mid. Next up is a character I've been talking about a lot in videos recently and playing him more, which is Ridley. Again, Ridley didn't somehow become an amazing character or a super broken character, and I still think he's probably, like, again, these are like good characters. These are fine characters, right? DK does well in meta, Marth does well in meta, Inkling doesn't, but is good enough that fine, whatever. But like Ridley, in my opinion, is a better meta pick than people think, but at the same time, when you like super lose to characters like Game & Watch, it's a little hard to say that you can do super well when it's like a very common character, or like Samus as well is a super bad matchup. So Ridley, you know, has some stuff. Good command grab, decent killing. Honestly, the low-key hardest thing about him is the fact that he just like, has really inconsistent sweet spots, not as inconsistent as Marth, but like a lot of inconsistent sweet spots. And if like his forward tilt sweet spot was just a little bit bigger, it'd be fine, because he would just hit people all the time and kill. But he can. So in my opinion, that's a little bit rough. DK and Ridley having relevant good matchups against top tiers is cool. Yeah, Ridley having a good matchup versus like Cloud is sick. I don't know any other ones of like the meta-relevant characters. It's like okay versus Snake. And on the train of bad characters that have good meta-relevant matchups, we have Duck Hunt. Don't believe what Big Duck Hunt fan says on twitter.com. This character doesn't have really good matchups with a bunch of top tiers, but like two. And one of them is Diddy Kong, who is a really, like Diddy Kong and Samus are the two that I'm like, yeah, for sure. This character does really well versus those two characters, and they're very relevant. They're like, I think both of them are like top 7 in relevance for the game, which is really good. But Duck Hunt still struggles in a lot of aspects, and I feel like people are not great at the matchup and don't know where things have lag, and also aren't good at edge guarding, because Duck Hunt is really, really easily edge guardable. Off the go Big Duck Hunt fan. Listen, she's godlike, but like saying that your character beats Aegis as a projectile character, which is like universally an archetype that Aegis beats, is crazy. Duck Hunt beats Kazuya, that's not true, and also does decent versus Snake, that's also not true. Snake just does what Duck Hunt does, but better, and then kills. Again, this is one of the things, kind of like Inkling, where Duck Hunt struggles to kill. If Duck Hunt had a kill throw, like if Duck Hunt's up throw killed 30% earlier, this character would be here. For sure, like one change, that's it, that's all you need. But like if you have to rely on side B to back air to get kills, you're not a good character. Or side B to forward smash, which for some reason works, but like, why are you getting hit by side B in those positions? Then like, sure. Like low key, I should pick up Duck Hunt to specifically beat Samus players. I mean, I think the character struggles a little bit too much, just overall. But good projectiles, you know, like being knowing and neutral, like it's really hard to know the Duck Hunt matchup, but if you know the Duck Hunt matchup, the character becomes significantly easier. And for the last character in mid-tiers, character that's had a huge uptick in results in the past 6 months, mostly off the back of TM7 Zap, although of course there are other good Bowser Jr. players, but Bowser Jr. has been doing pretty good, and I think part of that is Wi-Fi, but Zap is also beating people offline, has beat Riddles, has beat Jackal, has beat some other players, does well on Wi-Fi, and honestly, I don't think Bowser Jr. is like super good on Wi-Fi. Like there's a couple of things that are annoying, but like this character dumps out damage, dumps out killing, 2-frame kill with forward smash and stuff like that is very, very good. I just think that a couple of the aspects of a lot of players' game plans against Bowser Jr. isn't good enough, like out of shielding, mostly out of shielding, because if a Bowser Jr. side B's through your shield, you can just out of shield them every time with a full hop aerial, and if they keep going with the side B, then you don't get punished, but if they try to do something in terms of a mix-up, you hit it, and if you full hop and do it, you literally avoid the up B that they can potentially do, so you're fine. Didn't a Bowser Jr. beat Sonics? That was probably Zap. But yeah, I don't know, I feel like Bowser Jr. has a lot of strengths, even like more strengths than basically all of these characters, but the thing is, it's also a little bit consistent because you just sometimes do 70. Like up throw at 0 is lethal, it's a good up air, it's a good forward and back air, good aerials. Literally the only problem with Bowser Jr. is like the game plan can be a little flowcharty, And yeah. Also, I apologize. I forgot about a character, which I just saw in chat, but I literally missed them. We're gonna go over Robin. I think Robin, after watching Leaf, I'm less of a Robin hater. After watching Leaf, because Leaf schmixes people. So I don't know, maybe this character kills really easily, has pretty decent ledge trapping. Obviously, Levin aerials are all amazing. The projectiles can be really annoying to deal with. But I don't know, I feel like Leaf was just so much smoother and made this character look so much faster than other characters, which is really odd because I felt like Robin always felt really slow. And then watching Leaf, I'm like, oh, this character feels fast. And so if that's your main flaw, and as well as like losing your resources, which obviously sucks, which is why Robin will never be higher than like, you know, the bottom of this tier, even at best. Character looked way more threatening with that character. So it's like watching Leaf, I'm like, oh, this is what Robin does. That's nice. And that's the end of mid-tier, so let us go into upper mid-tier, which is basically mid-tier, but also basically high-tier, which is going to start off with Bowser. I do think Bowser had his time in the limelight, you know, as like a really relevant high-tier character. And then as characters got better and DLC got added, more and more characters just started to beat him. Like Steve is one of his worst matchups. You also have, even Sephiroth is not a great matchup for Bowser. You have Mimu, which can be annoying, even though I think the Bowsers think that's okay. You have Kazuya, which is so bad for him. And then a lot of characters just got better or got buffed, like Bayonetta, and, you know, Falco players got better, so the matchup became really bad. Peach players got better, so the matchup is really bad. So this character just has a ton of bad matchups, but at the same time, Flame Breath is crazy. Up B out of shield is crazy. Side B is really good. This character kills you and dumps out damage, so has some good things. And then if you're not super ready for the disadvantage state, you're gonna get downbeat, you're gonna get down aired. And if you're respecting those, then they just get to land with Flame Breath, which is fine. The offstage play is mostly what happens, and of course Bowser has some egregious moves, just like forward air in general is so good for Bowser, as well as F-tilt 2 framing is really crazy. And then the armor, passive armor is always very good, so you can, you know, if a character has specific moves that they want to do in neutral, you can just either tilt or smash attack to get around them, just based on percentage, which I think is really, really cool. But yeah, I feel like the meta kind of advanced through Bowser and like past Bowser, so that is why I put him down here. Like, you still have Leon, you still have Hedo do really well. There's a couple of other Bowser players that do decent, but overall, just I feel like the character is working harder than the opponents, unless you're really scared of them, or it happens to be one of the like good matchups, like Cloud, ironically. Yeah, I don't know how Hedo beat Kurama. That matchup seems impossible. This character's been kind of on a craze recently and kind of on a tear. We got Banjo and Kazooie. Toriguri has obviously been doing fantastically. There are a couple of other Banjo players popping up that are doing pretty good. I think Tweak was interested in Banjo again, which I might be wrong about that. But this character is just a little bit better than I thought, because the consistency and the difficulty of dealing with his neutral B is a lot higher than I thought it was. He has some like raw good kill moves, of course. He has good 2-framing, which he always has had. But the combos into kill moves really do it, like egg into like neutral B egg, like the Briegel Blaster into back air, into forward air, into Wonder Wing, really like solve a big problem with him, because he doesn't have great damage output, right? That's generally the case, which is still true. I mean, his like, you know, neutral B into neutral B over and over again into like Nair is like 22. But like then his advantage is pretty decent, and even though the moves aren't doing a lot of damage individually, they slowly build up over time in advantage state, and then the thing combos into Wonder Wing, which is crazy. So upper mid tier for Banjo. I think a lot of people now consider this character high tier actually, which I'm not that high on that train yet, but I think Banjo's better than I definitely used to think, and Torigudi's kind of been pushing this character. I would destroy Torigudi if I played him. Saying this as a player that is not currently ranked against a top like 35 player, but you know, I believe in myself, okay? This character's probably, the next two characters actually are like very much so theory picks, where like they might be better, but they're not currently, and that is, first off, Mewtwo. Mewtwo, great movement, Shadow Ball scary, some optimal combos with this character are terrifying, but they all deal with the inconsistent neutral air, and if the Nair sends to the wrong side, you no longer have your crazy broken stupid combo, but has great moves in general. Down tilt is really good, forward tilt is really good, forward air, side B, Shadow Ball, all very good. Has a pretty okay advantage state because teleport is really hard to deal with, but the problem is he's light, and then has like, he's big and light. I'm not even gonna worry about like tail hitbox, but it's mostly the fact that he's big and light, so he just dies a little bit simpler than other characters. And even though he also kills people pretty easily, he has one of the best kill throws in the game, 2 of them actually, I feel like he just doesn't overall do enough damage to make up for it, unless it's like a Shadow Ball thing. But Shadow Ball isn't as threatening as something like Samus's Charge Shot, and it's less overall annoying to deal with than a character like Samus, because the disadvantage isn't as good, so it's a little bit rough to consistently stay in advantage with this character. So that's mostly it, yeah. Mewtwo can be much better, I agree. He has the advantages of a top tier, disadvantages of a mid tier, basically. Like, I think when this character works, it looks like he's up here, but then the games that he doesn't work or the matchups that are really hard for him are down here. As I said, this is gonna be another theory character where in theory they're broken, but like we just don't see it ever. Where is the character? And that is going to be Link. Link, of course, has Bomb Infinite. Bomb is annoying, Boomerang's annoying, Nair is annoying, Forwarder's, like, they're all very good moves. But like, I feel like it just doesn't coalesce into a kit that makes sense. He has good moves in theory, but I feel like it just doesn't overall work. Up smash is a little too slow, up B's a little too slow. He has some really good stuff, but like, I don't know, man. Like, it's crazy to me that this character doesn't have results after T quit. Like, this character's good. And I don't get why this character doesn't do well. Like, again, I'm like a Link is high tier player. Like, low-key, Link is the best Link. Like, Link is better than Young Link, Link is better than Toon Link, low-key. But then none of them ever do anything. And so I can't say it. So I don't know. Like, the character doesn't, you don't even need to do the stupid Bomb Infants. You just do the Bomb Nair and Bomb Fair ones, which are like doable. And then people don't get hit by them and they don't, I don't know. I don't know if they just don't learn them. I don't know why, but it just doesn't work. No offense, but every Link player sucks. It's not even the Link player sucking. It's the fact that the character is really hard because you have to play like multiple different methods of the character, which is something that most players don't have to do. Most characters rather don't have to do. Like, you have your very solid game plan and maybe a secondary game plan with most characters. Link has like 4 and you have to do all of them all the time. Do you think the meta development has led to Link being worse? No! Link was always a theory good character, and then no Link has ever done anything. So like, I don't know, I think this character could be good. I wouldn't be surprised if like suddenly a Link player did super well, but he's just not there. I don't know why. Like, his Nair is broken, and like, then they don't do any, I don't know. He's a mystery, he's a mystery. Speaking of characters that are a mystery to a lot of players, but also this character does have results, we got the second Mii Gunner. Competencito is crazy. I think everyone knows that from watching him. This character is one of the best dedicated zoners in the game, has a crazy up smash out of shield, good kill potential, annoying to deal with recovery, but the problem is the close quarter combat of this character is lacking. So if you are a rushdown character, you probably beat Mii Gunner. And if you're a character with a really strong advantage state, you probably beat Mii Gunner, which is a lot of characters in this game. So like, as long as you don't get ledge trapped over and over and over again, you're probably going to beat her as most relevant characters, but she always has the tools, always has the tools. I think that suffices for the explanation. This character may be better than Palutena in people's hearts, but this character is Incineroar. A little bit worse than where I put him, I think, in my last list. Incineroar is one of those characters that it's a good tournament character because people get scared, but a lot of players, I feel like nowadays, are just not getting scared of Incineroar anymore. Maybe it's just SkyJ's been flopping, which might be true. Like, SkyJ has had some really unfortunate brackets recently. Like, he's running into like the super bad Incineroar matchups. Like, I know he had to play Kiarash at Genesis, and I'm like, Luigi Incineroar seems unplayable. Like, it seems so bad. So obviously going from the high of SkyJ last year to what SkyJ's been doing this year is obviously a huge hit, and there are no other Incineroar players that are anywhere near as competent as him. So obviously his results do worse. People think, oh, Incineroar is bad. But also, like, this character just struggles, and I feel like the overall meta is shifting to, hey, we're just gonna simply not get hit, and we're just gonna be better than you as like a player. And Incineroar, yes, has the cheese to bring it back with like side beat 55, but then you just play her on the side beat 55 and like double jump, neutral air dodge center, he hits you and it doesn't matter. So yeah, I think people are like getting better at playing risk averse against Incineroar, so he's not succeeding as much. Or the character's just out damaging him just because his combo game kind of sucks. I never understood people trying to call him high tier. I mean, again, upper mid tier, if you wanted to call these characters high tier, I wouldn't disagree with you. Like, basically, I just have like 2 more tiers than I used to in my tier list. Like, if I wasn't doing this, if I had like low, mid, high, top again, Incineroar would be high tier. Japanese players have my favorite pop-offs. Dude, I feel like they're so good. And the thing is, like, my favorite thing about Japanese players is they pop off at like round of 64. Like, top players in America only pop off when they beat like Spargo or Sonics for the most part. But like, I want to see like that really clutch, like top 32 pop off. You know what I'm saying? Gact pop-offs are unbeatable. Low-key, again, I think Gact has really good pop-offs. Akola's pop-offs clear everyone's out of the water. Akola has the best pop-offs in Smash Ultimate by so much, it's not even close. Lucas is next. I feel like this is a character, again, with like super untapped potential because like Lucas's frame data is ridiculous, Zare is broken, and I feel like the Lucases are getting better, so I feel like next tier list he might be here. Honestly, the only I feel like flaw of Lucas is I feel like he doesn't have a good move to mash in disadvantage. And then obviously he's super difficult, so if you mess up, it's very, very punishing because you're gonna like waste your double jump and then get hit off stage. But Lucas Air is crazy. It's super broken. His forward air is crazy, his forward tilt is crazy, PK Fire is a good enough move, PK Thunder is one of the best anti-tether moves in the game. But like the character's disadvantage is a little rough. And again, when we're in this tier, it's basically like, hey, they have like really good aspects, but there's one aspect that's a little bit worse, and Lucas is basically that. Hasn't Lucas got some attack cancel, up smash, and vulnerability now? Well, everyone, they've had that since year 1. Like people are using it now more as like an anti-mash tool, so it's like you do something and then up smash attack cancel for the like immediate out of shield option, but like you shouldn't be out of shield optioning Lucas's anyway because it's -2 and -3 on shield. One of the round characters come next. The Knights of the Round Table, and Jigglypuff is definitely there. I think Jigglypuff you could argue as high tier because like the character just has so many strong tools, has like arguably the best edge guarding in the game. Annoying neutral, pound is really good, the combos are really good, the damage is really good. Base Mage as a player has been doing very well recently. There also Senra has been doing well recently. I think there's a couple of other puffs that are like putting in some work. Sing is obviously crazy for jab block, so like any mistech equals death. Character has some like strong moves like Nair, back air, smash attacks obviously are all really good. And like being able to just kill people at 30 is really nice, but also you're Puff, so sometimes you die at 30. So that's a little bit of a trade. If Puff if Puff had like a frame 2 air dodge, this character would be up here for sure. Like frame 4 air dodge kills this character. And that's literally the biggest flaw of Puff is frame 4 air dodge, which I don't know why they did that. I don't understand. So the disadvantage because your double jump gets bigger and your frame 4 air dodge is so bad. Next up is the other Puff ball. We got Meta Knight. I think Meta Knight I think this is a little higher than my last list. Meta Knight just like has the tools to disengage, which I find is really important. I feel like the meta has shifted in the past 6 months to like people are just actually advantage stating people over and over and over again and killing them. Obviously, Meta Knight has the ability to do that because he has like ladder combos and good edge guarding, like also some of the best edge guarding in the game. But also he has a really good disadvantage state, or I guess a better than average disadvantage state, because I found it to still be very difficult if people knew where my down Bs were going to go, but also I think I gave people too much credit because down B's broken, and having multiple jumps is nice because people, if they don't want to swing, you just land pretty easily, or like do like a landing Nair, which is pretty safe. Or you just down B to like a platform and it's really hard to punish that. So yeah, has some good matchups in top tier as well, but I feel like there are some matchups that are still really, really hard for him in top tier. Or like, you know, in the relevant characters that still overall just beat him and are more common than him. So that's like basically his main flaw, or like the characters that you can't ladder kind of sucks. But yeah, I mean, Meta Knight is, in my opinion, like after I played him, I'm like, oh, this character's kind of good, just like not broken, essentially. The Meta Knights are learning to murder. They've murdered the entire game. Rosalina and Luma is next. This character might be better than this. I saw Dabuz be like, oh, this character actually has some secret things, which I'm scared about because Dabuz is already annoying and doing well. But I feel like just there are a couple of matchups that it's just really hard for Rosa to keep Luma, and some of them are really popular, like Cloud or Aegis or Steve. So Rosa is, in my opinion, an very difficult character, and it's literally, there's one of them. I mean, there's other than just Dabuz, but it's Dabuz. This is Dabuz, right? And I hate playing Dabuz, so to me, this character is broken. I hate fighting Dabuz. It's impossible to beat him. He is one of the hardest players in the entire world to beat. I would rather fight T-Pack. I don't know if that's true. He's top 2 most annoying people, so sorry, the tier list is actually this, because I can't beat these guys. But Dabuz is just really good, and I think like Rosa has some good matchups. I think she does well versus Sonic is what I've heard a bunch of people say, even though I don't quite understand it 100%. And then does well versus like Kazuya and a couple of other meta threats like Samus as well. And oh, sorry, I don't think it's Sonic. I think it's Game & Watch, my bad. Beats Game & Watch, not Sonic. Is like okay versus Steve, although you do get blocked on your recoveries, which kind of sucks. But like beating Samus, beating Game & Watch when those are 2 very common characters is very, very useful. Does decent versus like meta, but not like too good. But then like the other meta of like Min Min and Roy and Aegis, like that's really hard in my opinion. So I put her down here, like, and also she's just so difficult. And sometimes if you just like lose Luma and then you get hit off stage and then they kill Luma before you get back, or like, you know, you're getting ledge trapped and then you get hit and then Luma gets hit and then she's dead again. Like you can sometimes like just rotate killing Luma or like multiple times, which kind of sucks. Next up is Wii Fit Trainer. I think this character's still underrated, and seeing Xavier's clips are scary. This character does so much damage, has deep breathing, which is one of the best moves in the game because you become super buffed. There are certain, like the only problem with Wii Fit is Wii Fit doesn't actually force characters to approach because her projectiles are so slow that you just stand there anyway, and Wii Fit is bad at approaching. So when Wii Fit is losing, you just start shielding volleyballs over and over again, and she can't do anything about that. And you can just start whiff punishing her. Her stuff isn't like necessarily safe on shield. I think maybe like deep breathing back air is probably safe because it's deep breathing back air, but like that's about it. Even then, it's -7. I mean, it might be better with deep breathing. So like that's not like crazy safe considering like, oh, their jab, you're getting back hit jab 1, it doesn't really matter. I don't think her planking is particularly good because again, you can just jump over the volleyball and it doesn't do anything. It just like, she has a lot of things that are like, man, I hope you're running in. And if you don't, then the character starts to crumble a little bit and has some really bad matchups, especially that are very meta relevant, mostly Game & Watch, because I'm not going to say Pika is meta relevant because there's 2 of us. Captain Falcon incoming. Are you on drugs? Falcon is so good. Falcon is crazy good. Falcon is so much higher than where we currently are. Like so much higher. And by so much higher, I mean like, you know, double digits. We got our first fighting game character here, which is Ken. I think Ken is by far the worst of the fighting game characters. And by far, I mean like 4 spots, 5 spots, but he's the worst one. Yes, I know Jazzo just did really well at MomoCon. I still think that Ken is the worst one, because if you're gonna compare the best Ken to the best of any other fighting game character, Ken does the worst, because you have Oshimo's Ryu, and Oshimo's like a top 15 player, then you have Riddles with the other 2. Ken's still scary, right? Auto turnaround, of course, is crazy. Good aerials, good combos. The inconsistency of this character with fallouts is really unfortunate, and he doesn't have a good zoning game, so he's literally just trying to break into you with offense over and over and over again. But it's really hard to do that with so many characters that have either sword hitboxes or are faster or can just wall you out. Literally, like Steve, characters like an edgeguard Ken can give him trouble. Like there's a bunch of like little flaws that this character has. But again, we're talking about like, yeah, he's just not broken, right? Like if he was a little bit better at recovering, he'd be broken. Because again, we're getting at the upper end of this tier, which again, if you wanted to call Ken high tier, I wouldn't disagree necessarily. So yeah, it's fine. Like Ken's really good, and we know that he's good. It's just this is starting to get into like the, oh, these characters are broken territory, because welcome to Smash Ultimate. If your best rep that is famous with this character says this character is bad, they must be bad. We're talking Byleth. Leo dropped Byleth, which means that confirmed Byleth is bad. This character doesn't have the speed to keep up, has some good matchups, has some good, you know, edge guarding tools and neutral against certain characters, but I feel like overall, this character is just worst Aegis. And like, kind of like Marth and Lucina, when you have a strictly better version of the same type of character, you become way worse. But like, has good moves, Up B's a crazy move in general, has good edge guarding, Nair is a good move, but like, people have gotten better at like the parry and now to shield counter play. Again, Nair is shield grabbable if you land in front, so you always want to land in back, which is a little hard because then you're always overshooting, which means that people can just backdash farther or undershoot you yourself. It just doesn't have enough mix-up, and not having like, only having a like kill confirm at either like super high percents or at the ledge, in my opinion, is a little bit limiting. And because Byleth is so slow, characters get to choose the positioning in which they want to fight Byleth a lot. So that's the only reason why Byleth is lower here. Other than Zachary, sometimes Pit has done horseshit to get this far. What do you mean Zachary sometimes? Also, Zachary's my GOAT. Lay off my GOAT. Lay the fuck off my GOAT. Zachary's amazing. How dare you? How dare you say that anything Zachary does isn't good enough? It's always good enough for me. And for most players in North America that are top players. Literally, if you talk to like top players in the US, like top 20 players, like I feel like half of them are like, yeah, Zachary's my favorite. Because that's correct. Because he's the GOAT. Zachary's my fucking GOAT. I think I only have 2 characters left in this tier. Yeah. I'm almost at the top of the tier. First off is actually going to be second off, and by both of them, I mean Ice Climbers. Again, Ice Climbers, very strong character. Big D just had a really good Gommel run. This character is scary, has pretty relevant players everywhere in the meta. You have Big D in North America. Actually, I don't think Europe has a top Ice Climbers, but I'm sure there is a good one that I just can't think of. And then Japan has like 4 that are good. It's crazy to me that Big D like went to Japan, got like 257th, and then came back and like got 3rd at Gommel. That's crazy. Japan's impossible. But yeah, this character, when the matchups are good for Ice Climbers, this character is good. The matchups that are good for this character are so good, and it's so oppressive. And then they have like 8 -3s. So this is the definition of if you have a good bracket, you will simply win. And if you have a bad bracket, you will get 257th, which is literally evidence of Big D because he got double eliminated by the same Pac-Man player, Duck Hunt player, some like weird projectile character. I forget which one. But yeah, that just happens. Like, it's like, oh, this matchup just sucks. Sorry, like you had like like literally if T3 Dom had a bracket of all Ice Climbers, he would win without dropping a game. He would win the bracket without dropping a game. You have to get lucky with your matchups or just simply be so much better with your character. And simply being so much better, why don't you do that with a top tier? And the last character for upper mid tier, which again, if you want to say they're high tier, I get it, especially considering the results this character has specifically in Japan, including a Spargo win. We're talking Toon Link. This character's good. I'm not gonna say this character's not good, right? I think that like Toon Link is fast, has good jumps, is floaty, so the disadvantage isn't great, which is honestly the biggest flaw of this character probably, but has consistent killing, has good out of shield options. Bomb is really good, Boomerang is really good, Forward Tilt is crazy, Dash Attack is very good, even if the follow-ups that Young Link has with Dash Attack aren't great. But I think Toon Link is like a pretty solid character. I just think like Toon Link is the definition of there are just characters better than him. And that's literally it. Like that's quite literally it. It's like, he's really good. If you look at Toon Link, you go, yeah, that character must be high tier. And then you look at the behemoth that is Ultimate's cast and you go, maybe he's upper mid tier. But again, if you want to put him in high tier, he's the top of upper mid tier. I'm not gonna fight you for it that much. And yeah, that's going to be the end of this video, which was mid tier and upper mid tier again. You can guess who's going to be the first character of the next tier down in the comments. And if you disagree with any of my placements, you can also let me down in the comments. And again, subscribe while you're down there. I would appreciate it. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time. Peace.